videos that ma'am, please give us the remedies, give us the upaya so that we can overcome negative consequences in life. But do you really think performing upaya or remedies will help you to overcome the consequences in full? Definitely not. Avashyameva bhoktavyam krita karma shubhashubham. That means whether karma is good or bad, it has to be experienced in full, then only that karma will be cleared from the account. Namaste everyone, welcome back to my channel Ramya Jyotish. I am Ramya Shri. Today let's explore the world of Karma Siddhanta and its direct relation with Jyotisha. First, let's know what is Jyotisha and what is its importance in the Vedic scriptures and where it is placed in the Vedic scriptures and what role does it play in our day-to-day life. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do subscribe and like, comment and share the videos among your friends and family circle. And don't forget to provide your valuable feedback or suggestions in the comment box. Firstly, let's know what is Jyotisha. Jyotisha means the light of life. It is the human life's biggest savior, because a human will always believe the way he or she is, and Jyotisha is a knowledge which helps a human to understand what a life is and how it has to be led and the way we can improve it. So where does it find its place in the Vedic scriptures? We have 6 limbs which support the Vedic tradition, which is famously known as Vedangas or Shadangas. So the 6 Vedangas are Nirukta, Kalpa, Chanda, Vyakarana, Shiksha and Jyotisha. The first 5 Vedangas which I mentioned are the way it is conveyed to practice the Vedas, the right pronunciation, the right practicing discipline and all of them. And Jyotisha is eye of the Vedas. Jyotisha explains the practical consequences of doing the discipline or practicing the Vedas in a right or a wrong way. So on a day-to-day life, whatever we do is part of our karmas, the part of our actions. So whether done in right or wrong way will have the practical consequences, and that's what is explained in Jyotisha. Further, Jyotisha is divided into 3 different categories: Hora, Samhita and Skanda. Skanda is the mathematical calculations, so it is mainly the Khagola Shastra or the astronomy. Samhita is the prediction of the worldly events, or well known as Medini Jyotish or the mundane astrology. And Hora, which is derived from the Sanskrit word Ahoratri, so the between word, that is Hora, only signifies that it is on the specific time period based on which the horoscope or the kundali is casted. This kundali or the horoscope is nothing but the blueprint of our karmas. So Hora or horoscope are interrelated and interlinked, and that's why Jyotisha is the practical consequences of our own actions. I hope you have got a bit fair idea about what Jyotisha is. Now let's understand what is karma. Derived from the Sanskrit root word kri, which means to do or to action. So the fundamental principle of karma is every action generates corresponding results which a performer has to experience in his or her life. As per the Sankhya Yoga of Bhagavad Gita, Karmanye Vadikaraste Ma Paleshu Kadachana Ma Karma Pala Hetur Bhurmate Sangotsva Karmani, which means a soul has the right to perform its actions but never to the fruits of action, and do not let the fruits of action be the motive or the attachment to inaction as well. Now let's see what is the classification of this karma and what are the different types of karma. So the primary classification of karma is based on the portion or based on the intensity of it. The simple wala. So it is Sanchita karma, Prarabdha karma, Kriyamana karma and Agami karma. So Sanchita karma, as the name says, it is Sanchayana, that is the accumulation. If a soul has taken 100 births, then the karmas which are performed in all these 100 births are accumulated. So this total package is known as Sanchita karma. So it is not easy to get rid of the Sanchita karma, and it has to be fully experienced. A portion of this Sanchita karma is allocated to the next birth of the soul, and this portion is known as Prarabdha karma. So suppose a soul has taken 100 births and is going to take the next 101th birth, then the karmas accumulated in the 100 births is known as Sanchita karma, and a portion of it which is getting allocated to the 101th birth is known as Prarabdha karma. So Prarabdha karma is a portion in the whole ocean of Sanchit karma. This Prarabdha karma can be modified to some extent through spiritual efforts, but majorly have to be experienced in full. So this Prarabdha karma, when it is allocated to the current birth, will have the main intention to have the spiritual life cycle in the birth, because any soul or any atma, when it is about to take rebirth, it will always request the divinity Bhagwan that it gets an opportunity to lead a spiritual life in the next life, because only through leading the spiritual life a soul or a atma will be able to attain moksha. And that's why spirituality is regarded as the highest form of divinity. Now let's see what is Kriyamana karma. So Kriyamana karma is nothing but the karmas that is being created at the present moment through our current actions, thoughts as well as the intentions. It is the only form of karma which we have direct control, as it is shaped by our choices right now. So it is the karmas which we perform at the moment. So whatever karmas we are doing at the moment is shaping a future also, and also is done through free will. So based on the free will, or the free will which Bhagwan has given us, we will perform this Kriyamana karma, and this will shape the future consequences also for us. Now if it is the present one, or the present actionable karma, then what is Agami karma? So Agami karma is nothing but it encompasses all actions performed in the current lifetime that will generate the future consequences. So Kriyamana karma is doing the same. The present actionable, whatever we are making the choices, our intentions, our thought process, that is the Kriyamana karma. Agami karma encompasses all these set of karmas or set of action of a current lifetime, and this will get added to the Sanchita karma. So this Agami karma gets added to the Sanchita karma and will simultaneously start creating the immediate effects as well. So this was the primary classification of karma: Sanchita, Prarabdha, Kriyamana and Agami karma. Now let's go much more ahead and understand another set of classification, that is Dhrida karma, Adhrida karma and Dhrida karma. So Dhrida karma, as the name says, it is fixed and immovable, or which cannot be changed. So this is the results from the action performed with intense emotion or repeated consistency. So anything like birth, death or major accidents or major consequences, this cannot be avoided, and these are never modified as well. And that's why Dhrida karma is something which we have to experience in full. A soul cannot escape the loop of death and the rebirth, and that's what Dhrida karma denotes as well. Now next let's see what is Adhrida karma. Adhrida, as the name says, it is flexible and it is movable or modifiable as well. So Adhrida karma consists of those karmas, the karmic impressions, which retain flexibility and can be modified through conscious effort, spiritual practices and remedial measures. So 20 to 30% will be able to modify them, but again here also it can't be completely nullified or reduced to a very great extent. So some portion has to be experienced. So this is usually generated through mild intensity action, small inactive or small negative karmas. That's what will lead to the adrida karmas. So this can be responded through the spiritual practices and remedies which are suggested, and this will allow for conscious intervention and the changes as well. Now let's understand what is drida karma. So this drida karma is something which develop that it's a way of discriminating and also to understand that certain part of karma can be completely got rid of and certain part of adrida karma cannot be get rid of. So it has to be modified, it can be modified, but only after lot of efforts and lot of spiritual practices. Now you may get confused that in drida karma I said it is cannot be done. Adrida I said some portion can be reduced and some portion has to be experienced. Then what is so special in drida karma? Adrida karma we can do mild spiritual practices, mild remedies and get rid of it to some extent. But drida karma is in a way that you have to, even to get rid of 20 to 30%, we have to do a severe spiritual practices like tapas, and that's when we'll be able to reduce it even to the 20-30% also. So none of the karmas can be nullified to the full, and a portion at least have to be experienced is what my intention of telling it in this video. So this is the major set of classification of karmas, both primary and secondary, which I mentioned. And now coming from the Jyotish point of view, remedies, will it work at all times? What happens is that for any person to get an astrological guidance, they should be in the right dasha or antardasha. It has been noted that whenever a person is going through Shani, Rahu or Ketu, Mahadasha or Antardasha, or even the Pratyantar Dasha, main period, sub period, sub period, that's when that person or native will approach an astrologer to understand what is actually happening with him or her and to understand what kind of karmas or karmic consequences they are about to face in the future. But this Shani, Rahu, Ketu, only why they actually instigate a person. No matter a person is highly educated, highly scientific, which is very important in today's life, but at the end of the day will actually fall back to the wisdom, this divine wisdom that is Karma Siddhanta. Because Shani Dasha, Rahu Dasha, Ketu Dasha and their sub periods, same sub periods, will actually make a person realize that these are the set of karmas which you have done in your previous life and because of which you have these certain karmic consequences. I have experienced it over the years of my practice that whenever a person is in Shani, Rahu, Ketu's main sub-period or sub-period, then only they approach us for the guidance. And we as an astrologer are also governed by dashas. We even have our set of karmas also, and even we also have to be in the right set of karmas. For example, I have been now in Shani Antardasha and I am also in the Sadesati. So that's why even I am at the right disposition to help people or to guide people what is the karmic consequences they would be facing in their life. So even an astrologer's dasha antardasha also should align with the customer or the person who is approaching them. So when an astrologer is going through the right or the suitable dasha or antardasha, he or she will be able to guide or to prescribe the right remedies. And if the person who has approached us also is actually in the right dasha antardasha and also in the suitable mindset to perform the remedies without any negative intentions, that's when the pure mindset also will reward him the results quicker way. Again mentioning, certain karmas have to be experienced and cannot be nullified. So Jyotisha is that kind of a subject which will indicate what kind of negative consequences a person is about to face, but other than Brahma, nobody will get to know what kind of consequences will actually happen in the life. So that's why the study of Karma Siddhanta or understanding karma is highly essential for a soul, for an Atma to lead a good life in the current birth. So being spiritual, being inclined to Dharma is the best way of leading a good life which is free of the negative karmas. So Dharmo Rakshati Rakshitaha. I hope you liked my video and my small exercise in guiding you in the exploration of this karma and its classifications. Understanding these principles will provide us that both practical wisdom for navigating the life challenges and profound insight also into the spiritual journey towards the liberation as well, that is the to attain moksha as well. Keep watching Ramya Jyotish. Thank you.